What is up, guys? Welcome to episode 1 of the Official Whistle YouTube channel. I'm super excited to finally be starting this today. It took a long time for me to step up and start doing this content, mostly because we shoot the Whistle podcast every week. So if you don't listen to the Whistle podcast, go check it out on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts. We're all out there. iHeart. But I've been reluctant to really start the YouTube channel. I cannot get this camera to sit straight. Sit straight, buddy. Bingo. So I've been reluctant to get this started, mostly because just the time that goes into it. You know, it takes a lot of time and then getting all the setup correct. But today I really want to dive into some Florida stuff. So personally, I am a Florida fan. I've been a Florida fan my entire life. And I think the new coaching hire is interesting to me. I don't think Florida made the right move. I'm calling it kind of now. I wasn't really excited when they hired Billy Napier. Nothing against Billy Napier. You know, I'm not trying to slash him or anything. But I thought for Florida, they really needed to get a big name hire. That's what I thought. A Lane Kiffin. Who else? Maybe a Chip Kelly. Just a riskier hire with more upside potential. That's kind of what I thought they really needed to bring in. I really didn't want to get rid of Dan Mullen. I thought he was a good coach. He was very good for us. And I thought we would keep Dan, but go out and overpay for a very good defensive coordinator and recruiter. That's what I thought we were going to do. You know, once we fired Todd Grantham, I was like, all right, we're moving off Grantham. Let's, play out the rest of the year, and we'll hire a new DC, get some recruits in, and then hopefully come back next year and do really well. Well, Mullen lost to South Carolina on the road. It wasn't a good look for us, and I think the AD, Strickland, was just like, it's over. You know, the fans aren't happy. They're really pissed about this. So they moved off Mullen, and then they hired Billy Napier, which I thought was an interesting hire. They're bringing in someone that doesn't really have the SEC experience or a big name to him. But he could come out and establish a legitimate program in 5 to 10 years. You know, I know he had stints with Bama and some other big guys, and he did very well at Louisiana Lafayette. That's great, but I don't know how well he's going to do in the SEC. Georgia's only getting better. They're not getting worse. Tennessee's coming up. Kentucky just signed Stoops to freaking God knows what extension. Probably, I think it was 10 years. It was something ridiculous. But it was smart on their part, because Stoops has done super well at Kentucky. You know, you're not going to get a better coach than him, in my opinion, there. But we're in a place now where coaching carousels have just gotten, it is so interesting. I mean, you're talking LSU's open, Miami's open, USC was open. Who else came open? Well, Notre Dame now. And then Penn State was supposedly going to be open, but then James Franklin signed an extension. Mel Tucker was going to be out at Michigan State. He was planning on going to a USC or an LSU, they were talking about that. But they signed him to a 10-year extension, which I think is really stupid too. But Florida came out, and they're like, you know what? We're not going to get a big-name coach. We're going to go after Billy Napier. Why? I don't know. Couldn't tell you why. I do think he's a good hire. He's a solid hire. I don't think he's great. Okay? Florida, in my opinion, needs a name. You know, we were stuck on this Steve Spurrier, Urban Meyer. We've been on those names for a long time, and we haven't had a guy like that. Now, who's to say Billy Napier can't build that type of program? He brings in some really good, coordinators, and they recruit very well. I don't see it happening. Currently, with the staff he brought in, and just looking at it from the outside, looking in, he's not retaining anyone on the staff. I'm pretty sure Greg Knox is gone, Savage is gone. So all these guys are exiting our program now. So now we're truly in the Napier era. Recruiting wise, we already lost our supposed, going to be 5-star quarterback Nick Evers. I think it was Nick Evers. I think so. I'd have to double check the name, but I think that's who's supposed to be coming in. He finally decommitted, which is totally fine. I totally get it. As a quarterback guy, I understand. He's like, all right, it's not my type of offensive style, not my coach, so I'm just going to wait and see what happens, which is smart on his part, I think. But that goes back to commit to a school, don't commit to a coach. That's very important. But I don't see this as a home run hire. If I had to grade it, I would grade it about a C, maybe a C plus. I'm looking over here of just who he's bringing in, Ryan O'Hara, who I think is going to do okay, but we're in the SEC, okay? And I think Florida has fallen behind on the 8 ball of all these other teams. Georgia's doing super, super well. The recruiting is kicking our ass. They have Will Muschamp on their defensive analyst squad now, who still recruits, and he coaches on the field. I've never seen defensive analysts coach on the field before. I was really, really, really surprised that Napier came in and got rid of Savage. I thought Nick Savage was a very, very, very key part of this program. If you look at his track record, he's done super, super well. And the athletes he's produced, the physicality, and how they look, too. I mean, these guys look like straight bodybuilders after they go through the Savage program. He also brought in Patrick Toney, which I don't know too much about, honestly. I'd have to go back and look at, his whole track record. But I just don't see it. In my opinion, we really needed to bring in a big-name offensive coordinator. Just to fill that void for a coach, because he said he's going to be calling the plays. I think that's a dumb move. And the reason I think it's a dumb move, we just saw what happened with Dan Mullen, right? If Dan Mullen had an offensive coordinator and was like, hey, we're not doing too good on offense, we're also going to get rid of the offensive coordinator, we might have kept him. Who knows? If offense wasn't doing well, we would have gotten rid of our defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator and kept Dan as the head coach. But since he is the offensive play caller, he's the one who makes the decisions on offense. I think that ultimately led to the downfall and the firing of him. I just don't think it's smart for Napier to do the same thing. I do get it. You want to be successful. You want to be that lead guy. But at the same time, in my opinion, you need to bring in the offensive staff, from top to bottom in order to do that. Because ultimately, you do have the play calling decision, right? As a head coach, you have that ability to just call the plays that you want to call. But he could still have that offensive coordinator as a scapegoat if stuff isn't working out. Overall, I give Florida a C, C plus maybe. I'll have to see how he finishes out the rest of the staff and what happens with recruiting. I don't think recruiting is going to be really good over the first 6 months, just because he just got there. Our draft class I think dropped to below 30 in the nation. It was pretty low, so it'll be interesting to see if we creep back up into the top 15 where we need to be. But I'll tell you now, Alabama and Georgia are not dropping off, and they're only going to get tougher to beat. So those are my first thoughts on the University of Florida's coaching hire. All right, y'all have a great day. Stay tuned for another episode. Peace.